Okay, so welcome to our special report on Czechoslovakia. So before we head out to our field reporters, let's get some background information in. So Lydia, tell me what happened in Czechoslovakia.
Well, the Soviets freed the Czechs from Nazi control in 1945.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, so Czechoslovakia already had a communist party, so it made it a lot easier for the Soviets. And the Czechoslovakian communists already had controls over some aspects of the government.
And that helped, of course, yes.
Yeah, and this allowed the Czechs to reject the Marshall Plan, and also they were pressured by the Soviets to do this. So the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia seized power in February of 1948.
Right, what about the non-communists?
Well, many non-communists in the government resigned, and then the Communist Party took control.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, so then after the 1948 elections, the communist Clement Gottwald took power, and he tried to change Czechoslovakia in a way so that the Soviets would be happy, so like in the Soviet image.
Yeah.
And then in order to do that, he used terror and bad mustaches and murder to help consolidate their power. So initially, this policy worked because the Czechoslovakian economy was getting better.
Oh, that's
Right,
good.
yes, it is. But then in 1952, the two leaders were hanged for Titoism. I know, really sad. So that's it for our background information. And now let's head out to our two field reporters, Ivana and Ivanka.
Hello, I am Ivana and I'm here with Ivanka and we're about to tell you about the domestic and foreign policies of Czechoslovakia.
To understand a little bit more about Czechoslovakia as a country, you must first understand the domestic and foreign policies of this great nation. So, first, after World War II, Czechoslovakia had an internal responsibility to prevent a counter-revolution with other socialist countries. The financial crisis in Czechoslovakia in 1920s was diminished by the high levels of industrialization.
Industrialization at work, very good, very good.
Yeah, very good. Czechoslovakia was originally ruled by Petka, which were the five leading political parties at the time. Because of this, they were able to remain mainly democratic until 1921, in which the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia was established. The communists were in control of vital parts of the society, including the interior policies, education, information, and agriculture. So as you can see, most of the domestic policies within Czechoslovakia were based on communist ideals. And eventually, after the revolution, a new policy of normalization was implemented, which was also communist. And here's Ivana with some foreign policy information.
Good, very good. Alright, so after the Czech expulsion from the League of Nations, which was very common at the time,
Very true.
a revolution was rising in the Soviet Union, and avoiding war between superpowers became the primary political objective after World War II. Now, following World War II, Stalin worked to establish satellite states in Eastern Europe in an attempt to make them resemble Soviet structures.
What a
Gimbo.
gimbo! What a gimbo, Mr. McGuire, isn't that correct?
Exactly. So, the Czechs complied with Soviet demands from the beginning and did not agree with the Marshall Plan. And in February 1948, the CPCZ, which was the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia, seized control over Czechoslovakia, as Ivanka was alluding to earlier. And the termination of communism in Czechoslovakia seemed attainable after the collapse of East Germany in October. So let's go back to Lydia and Kai, and we will discuss more about this great nation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys for that information. Now for some more information on the nature of a single-party state.
The first years of the Communist Party brought many changes and suffering. Kai, can you tell us about these economically?
Yes, I can. So the communists deepened the nationalization program and embarked on the collectivization of more agriculture. So then the first secretary of the Czechoslovakian Communist Party introduced a new set of measures to decentralize the control over the economy. So what were some of these changes socially?
Well, the social changes in the state quickly began as a purge for political enemies. The military and leading roles in the economy.
What
Yeah.
happened to these people who got
Well,
convicted?
there were trials, imprisonments, and occasional executions as a result of
That
this.
would suck.
So, what are some of the political issues that arose?
Well, there was a currency reform, and this reform helped the state or the regime survive past 1956. But then they also try to improve the living standards in order to avoid political turmoil experienced in their neighboring countries of Poland and Hungary.
Alright, well that's all the information we have for now on the single-party state. Now we're going to go back out to the field reporters.
Ivanka and I are here reporting from Czechoslovakia, and it is the night of October 20th, 1969, and we have a big announcement for our viewers today.
Big announcement.
Big, massive. And it is that the Soviet Union today announced that their government for the next 6 years will be closely tied with the Czechoslovakian government. Now this is after the removal of President Dubek, who was the president for a fair amount of time. Is that right, Ivanka?
Fair amount.
Yes, and so now censorship has been reinstated in the country, political discussion has been discouraged, and all officials associated with Dubek's government have been dispatched. And again, this is breaking news. And this is following Soviet leaders Leonid Brezhnev's unwillingness to watch the country fall out of the hands of the Soviets after Scene 2 let the country spiral out of control into a kind of type of democracy. Kind of, a little. Leaning towards that.
It is socialism without a face.
Yes, that is what it was called. Now, could you tell me more about this socialism without a face?
Alexander Dubek was the president of the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia, obviously.
Right.
He began the movement of de-Stalinization, and obviously this was seen as a huge threat in the Soviet Union. Because of this, he allowed more free political discussion, limited censorship, and began to discuss with the Slovaks complaints that they had against the Czechoslovakian government.
Sounds good to me.
It sounds very promising.
Right.
However, the Soviet Union was hesitant to continue to allow him to lead, considering that the Hungarian communist reform,
Hungarians.
the Hungarians,
Yes.
quickly spiraled out of control of the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union obviously viewed Czechoslovakia as a huge threat.
Sure.
I mean, I would too.
Fair enough.
So that is us reporting, Ivanka,
And Ivana.
in Czechoslovakia on the night of October 20th, 1969. Thank you.
Oh my God! It's Alexander Dubek! He's running away!
Oh my God, breaking news!
Breaking news!
Back to Kai and Lydia with their morning news announcement.
That's all for today's report. Thanks for watching.
Stay classy, Czechoslovakia.